morphing was a word that at that time didn't exist. Morphing was a 1990s word. But morphing is a process where you take the geometry of an object and the topology. Like, in other words, its location in space, and then the way they're connected. So let's say a cube has 6 sides. Yeah. They're connected in a certain way. The points and the lines are connected in a certain way. But and that's called the topology of it. So if you take the topology and you modify it, the moving of the lines start changing. So the cube starts to change shapes. At some point, some of the shapes that it can have could collapse into, let's say, a surface, right? If you take the top and the bottom and you start changing the topology, it becomes smaller, smaller, smaller. At some point, they collapse. So now it's a plane. And if you collapse again, it becomes a point, right? But that means that if I take one point and I move it up, I make it into a pyramid now, which means that I can take any shape and change it into any shape I want, right? So I could take a cube and make it into a pyramid. I could take, let's say, a square and make it into a triangle by taking one point and collapsing it. Right? So that was a very interesting idea, because now I can take architectural shapes and move them around in space. They become like from one object to another object. So I thought this is almost like an orchestra. Like I'm a conductor of an orchestra, where I say, okay, you column, go to that column, and you just merge together, and you connect together. And so the whole thing was about this, what I called transformational design. And that was actually a very, very interesting thesis. It was a precursor of what we call later morphing. And it was more based on pixels. You morph pixels. It's the same technique. You average the distance between pixels to make something like one face into another face. I did the same thing with objects. So you take one object and you average the spaces to get the in-between, what we call the hybrid between the two shapes. So that was the master's thesis in Ohio State University. Now, Harvard is a very, very good school, but I didn't like it because it was too good. Too good is not good. I was trying to find why it's such a good school, but there's a reason, okay, because I was inside. At that time, I was shocked because I had no idea, and I was like, okay, why am I here? First day, and I'm like, God, because everybody's, who's the number one? And something really strange happened to me, and my investigation revealed that there's 2 secrets, and I was like, holy, this is so interesting.